So first, I would like to open up with a little song. So we're going to start with, I'm going to sing to you. First, I know you were not a fan of doing this. You asked us to not do this because you did not want to be a spectacle. So I really only brought in the people that I think really are a big part of our lives and that have made an impact in our life. And so I know that it's a lot, but I don't want to take a single day for granted with you. And you know, it's a weird thing, it's not on my script, but in a weird turn, I heard from friends from high school today, and their marriage, they've been married since we graduated high school, and they're done. And that hit me this morning, that I'm like, every day we have together is a total gift. So whether, I don't know, I just feel like we've made it, and I'm proud of us, and I wanted to do this. So when I was in my mid-20s, I prayed, and it sounds cheesy, but I prayed for a man who would put God before me. And it was a big part of what I wanted, because I think that is, through time, that's what makes love last. I think it's what makes marriage last. And I think that when times get really rough, in fact, if that person loves God more than they love you, then it makes your marriage thrive. So not only survive this, but thrive. So that was my big prayer when I was in my mid-20s. So in some ways, it feels like we got married yesterday in the worst ceremony, and a lot of you guys weren't there. And those of you that were can tell you how bad it was. I mean, it was really bad, and really, he found a minister online, and it was really bad. He was free, and the weather was bad, and it was a terrible ceremony. And so that feels like, sometimes it feels like it was a lifetime ago, and then sometimes it feels like, I don't know, it was the other day. But now we've had this life together, and we've had 2 girls together, and 2 careers, and 1,000 huskies. So at this renewal, I chose this time and this place and these people and our gracious friends Kristen and Elaine in their yard, because I feel like it's a good blessing for us. And I'm going to tell you now in front of all these people why I wanted to do this so badly. Okay, so we were driving home a couple of months ago, and you had just given one of your speeches in Santa Fe, and I remember in the car coming home how much I was filled with gratitude for you as a person, and that you were my husband. And I remember in that speech thinking, wow, this is this guy I've known for 20 years, and he's changed so much. Like when I met you, you were like this, you know, NFL draft obsessed, which not that that's changed, but frat boy, beer drinking, really kind of self-centered guy, and boisterous. And now you're this guy who, in an argument, will let me win a lot, which I should, but you still will. This guy that I kind of thought 20 years ago, oh, this guy's gonna like go and coach his son's football team. And instead, you take your 2 daughters into an American Girl doll store during a Cowboys game. It's big, you know. And then not only that, but like you're this guy that like has always worked on your body since I've known you. You've been a fitness guy, but over this last decade, I've watched you work on your spiritual fitness. You pray, you read your Bible in private. You're not there for show. You are definitely the spiritual leader of our house. You teach the kids about God, which I love. And then at night, you ask me if you can hold my hand and we can pray. I mean, who does that?
Don't you do this?
You forgive me when we disagree, and you apologize when it's not your fault. You encourage me, and you look for ways to help me out daily without ever looking for a thank you. And you make every single one of my days worth getting up for. I remember at our wedding, I thanked you for waiting for me. And today I want to thank you for still choosing me. There's no greater feeling in my life than spending it with my best friend. And though we've had our struggles, I really believe that by loving God more than ourselves, it has allowed our marriage not only to survive, but to grow. I'm on the last page, don't worry. So, I'm thankful for the grace that you've given to me this decade, which you have. You've given me a lot of grace, and And you know me better than anybody else in this world, and you still love me, which is a miracle. When we got married, I saw these vows as a promise, but now I see them as my absolute privilege. So today I promise to be by your side, to be your strength when you are weak, to never leave you, to be understanding, and to keep working on me and being the wife that you deserve. I promise above all else to live in truth with you and to communicate fully and fearlessly, even at midnight when you like to talk and I like to sleep. Our relationship is my most important consideration. It gives me strength, and I vow to put every effort into strengthening it through honesty, faithfulness, and patience. And I, like Bob said, like I told Bob, I love you more today than I did on our wedding day, without question. So thank you for letting me put you on the spot, because you're the guy that always talks, in front of our friends, to let you know that I'm thankful that you put God first in your life, because it absolutely reflects in your whole life. It reflects in your job. It reflects the people that come up and talk to you, and you always make time for them, always. It reflects with our girls, and it absolutely reflects in our marriage. So I'm so thankful, and I'm proud of you, and I am so honored to be your wife. So now I'm going to drop the mic.
No, I should be able to hold it together. That was so sweet.
I
appreciate it.
Especially for me.
Two things, 2 points I really want to make. I don't have anything written. I've never written anything to speak in front of people, so this is probably not unusual. But I remember at our wedding, I stood there and said the thing I liked more than anything else was hearing her laugh. And it's just one of those things you know, it's like her and my dad, or those two senses of laughter where it's like, it's just what sustains you. And Bob made the point, and I think it's a very good one, which is, you know, when you spend this time together and you talk to each other and go through all these things, ultimately that doesn't bond you. What really bonds you, and what's really bonded us, has been enjoying each other's company, and that is so important. And it's not easy. It's not easy in a world where I think constantly there are forces that try to have you separate from your family, try to pull you apart. And those things are real, and you have to be careful with those things. It's Channel 4.
Channel 4. Sabotage.
Paparazzi.
It's hard. But something came to me. I've been thinking a lot about what to say, and almost even not always necessarily what to say to you, but what to say to you, so that it would have some sort of impact. And maybe that's just kind of one of those things that happens in our line of work, where you want to talk to people, and you want, once that discussion's over, you want them to get something out of it. And so what I thought about, and I was talking to Chris about this earlier, was the story in the fable about the turtle and the scorpion. And there's a turtle sitting on the edge of the river, and there's a scorpion. And the scorpion turns to the turtle. He's like, I can't swim. So, do you mind if I hop on your shell and go across the river? And the turtle's like, what are you, crazy? You're a scorpion. I put you on my shell, you're gonna sting me, and we're both gonna die. And the scorpion says, well, that's just it. We both die. That's ridiculous. I would never do that. That makes no sense. And so the turtle's like, it's a good point. All right, hop on. Scorpion hops on the back of the turtle, and they start going. They get halfway across the river, and wham! The scorpion stings the turtle. And all of a sudden, they're just drifting to the bottom of the river, and the turtle looks over, he's like, can I ask you a question? Scorpion's like, sure. Why'd you do it? You're killing both of us. He goes, because I'm a scorpion, that's what I do. So the point in that is
Do what you do.
and girls and I talked about this on the drive over, is that we as human beings do this to each other all the time. Sometimes you're the scorpion, and sometimes you're the turtle. But every one of us has been both. So to sit anywhere with any sort of judgment in a marriage, in a friendship, in anything is ridiculous, because we've all been on both sides. We've been the person who's been hurt, we've been the person who's done the hurting. But you have a choice in that relationship, and in any relationship, which is, what do you do when you face those times that are difficult and you draw closer to God? And I think too often we blame our problems and our issues in this world on God versus a world we live in where people end up at odds with each other. So when you sit there and you have this opportunity and we see everything that our friends go through and what we all go through, it's very easy to get hung up in the world. And it's very easy to get hung up in the relationships that we have here. But what's most important is being closer to God, to me, because being closer to God always makes your life better. And you spend that time and invest in that relationship. And I'm not saying it's a church. I'm not saying you need to pray every minute. I'm not saying that you should know the Bible inside and out. I don't.
I know. I do.
I'm like, I don't know the order of the Bible. I mean, I grew up Catholic, so it's like I have a passing, interest in the Bible, but I've read it a lot more now. Just don't conflate human frailty with God not caring, because He does care. He cares about all of us. And when we end up in those situations where we're the scorpion or we're the turtle, that's a reason to get closer to God, not a reason to think that God doesn't care. And all this point is to make one simple point, which is, over the past year, we've been the turtle. Like we've looked at each other multiple times this past year and been like, man, that really sucked. That didn't go well. We're like, oh. And then we've had a series of things, and none of them anyone's fault or anything like that, but they just happen. And then you have a choice to make. And the choice you've made has been to draw closer to God, to bring the girls closer, to be inspirational to me with your small group and everything that you're doing. I can't tell you how valuable that is and how much I appreciate it. I've always known how tough you are. She's tough. I mean, she is. It's just true. It's true. But there's a difference between, that real toughness and the ability to be able to carry a family along. And I am so lucky to be with you. I'm so thankful for everything that you are. And I think when you see what's happened over the past year, and I just see how you've acted, and in the morning you do a little Bible study with the girls before they go to school, so that we make sure we act the right way when things happen, right? It's not easy. Let's be honest. Okay, well, the point being that you do so well with